Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us for this webinar. My name is Joseph Schultz. I'm the sales director for iBoss USA, Remote Insourcing, and I want to thank you for taking the time to join us. I'm sure we can all appreciate how difficult it is to reach out to new clients in this noisy new world that we live in. So appreciate your time. Very excited about sharing with you our service. And more importantly, the difference that it's made to our current logistics clients in their businesses. So let's jump right in. Let me share my screen. All right. Well, let's start out with the problem and things that we all experience and what we've heard from our clients most often. And the problem being these common pain points. Recruiting, finding high quality back office and support staff. And once we find them, retaining this high quality staff, reducing the turnover, maximizing production of the staff members that we have doing support roles and back office roles. And of course, controlling our recruiting, training, and payroll costs. In my 20 years of operating my own business in Phoenix, Arizona, I experienced all these pain points, like I'm sure most of you have. Finding good people. And then when I'd find good people, training, getting them on board, getting them lined up with my brand, my level of service, and then losing people. People quit. They find the grass is greener somewhere else for some other reason. Maybe it's 50 cents more an hour, $1 more an hour, whatever it is. But and then just that turnover, and then my brand suffers, my level of service suffers. I spend extra money on recruiting, training. So these were problems for me, and these were also problems for our founder. Let me tell you a little bit about how we came to be. So iBoss USA was born out of a need. It wasn't just born out of, hey, let's design a company to do something. Our founder and CEO, Leroy Carson, experienced the same things I experienced in my business. And that was, this turnover, this finding great people to work in the office or remotely in these entry-level trainable jobs. He was frustrated. And he started out in the 3PL business. So very much can relate to what you're doing there. That's where our roots come from. So I'll give you a short story. He placed an ad on Craigslist and for part-time remote support, for track and trace, for customer service, for billing, for all the things involved in this 3PL business. And he got a response from this kid in the Dominican Republic. And he ended up hiring him. And this kid just outworked everybody and stayed. He was being paid top wage and stayed. So this was the beginning of the roots of remote insourcing. His peers, Leroy's peers, other companies started, asking him, he hired more people and they were asking him, who are these people? Are they here? So it took shape. It became a business in 2021 in Arizona, and then of course grew from that point on. So let's talk about exactly how remote insourcing works and how it's different than what I've experienced in the past with BPOs, call centers, temp, any of those things. This is how this works. You let us know the requirements for any back office position, any entry-level trainable position, basically provide us with a job description, schedule, qualifications, preferences, things you're looking for. We'll go out and recruit in the Dominican Republic. Our operations center is located there. We'll recruit, we'll screen, pre-qualify, and we'll provide you with top-tier candidates that you interview. You'll interview as many of these as you'd like until you find the perfect fit. That person is then fully integrated into your company, remote insourced into your company the same way you would with any conventional W-2 hire. You train them, You manage them and you integrate them into your teams and your systems. What we do at that point is we manage the employee productivity with productivity tools, designated managers that are overseeing our productivity tools, and these remote employees. Important to note that we have no contracts and there's no upfront costs. In other words, we will recruit candidates. We will bring you as many candidates as you need to interview to fill that role. You don't pay a dime. You only pay a flat hourly rate once the employee is hired and working in your organization, and you're invoiced monthly for productivity only. We'll talk a little bit about that as we go on here about productivity. Let's talk a little bit about the crisis, as I put it, the quit rate. Now, turnover in the United States, according to sources that I have noted on the bottom of this slide, turnover 43% annually. The one that we're concerned about is the quit rate, and it's almost 30%. In other words, you're losing 1 out of 3 people every year. If you have 100 employees, you're losing 30, you're turning them over every year. That was my experience. That was Leroy's experience. And perhaps the reason you're here today, that's been your experience. With iBoss USA and Remote-Insourcing, that is lowered almost to 3% quit rate. And the reason for that is that iBoss USA is a very desirable employer in the Dominican Republic. We provide our employees with top pay rates, full health insurance, PTO, monthly incentives for productivity, and an annual Christmas bonus. So they're very happy employees and they stay, which you'll hear from some of them in just a little bit, and they'll tell you why. Productivity, big deal. It's kind of the silent killer that we don't talk about. Maybe we don't know about. But according to the statistics and the sources that I've quoted on the bottom of this slide, people sitting in your office, in their cubicle, or remotely, you're losing 39.2% of their productivity during the day. They're checking their phone, they're going to Facebook, they're walking around the office talking to other employees, whatever it might be. With Remote-Insourcing and with iBoss USA, that is under 1%. And that's because of the tools and the management we use. And quite frankly, the quality of the people that we recruit and you hire into your organization, the quality of these employees is incredible. So that is lowered to under 1%. Keep in mind that you are only billed for productive time. While we're losing 1% of productivity, you will be at 100% productivity, because if somebody goes to a Facebook or YouTube or whatever, the billing stops. You are not billed for that. So really important to note. I want to switch over to another screen and share with you real quick our productivity tools, if I can. And yes, I can. There we go. So this is Time Doctor. It is not prior software of our own, but it is very efficient. It's the best software we found to use. And our clients have 24/7 access to this software. So they can see their employees, they can see what they're doing, they can see hours. So let me just run through a few tabs with you real quick. Hours tracked. So you can see the hours that they've worked, that they were logged into the system. And if you click on any one of the, you can look at day, dates, month ranges, all those things are available for all these tabs. So if you want to go to a particular range and look at, if we click on any one of these employees, we can see the days that they're logged in. We can see the hours that they worked. From there, we can see their timeline. And in the timeline, you can see when they're logged in. Let me go to a different view here. Let me go to the week, new month. But you can see your employees. You can see when they were logged in every day, when they were working. And if you click on those, you can actually see a breakdown of that day. You can see when they were in, when they took a break, when they were on lunch. You can see all that very easily right here. Web and app usage. This is the big deal for productivity. Here, you can see, so you will provide us with whitelisted sites. In other words, all the websites and applications that an employee would use within your organization. Those would be on our productive. You would see those fall under productive. And then unproductive, those would be websites that aren't approved. We have some that fall into neutral. We have to review those consistently and move those to one of these two categories. But if we click on any one of these people, let's find one that's maybe got a little less productive time. Yeah, let's look here. So Anna, you can see here, there we go. It populated. So we can see her productive time. We can see all the things that are involved in her day-to-day tasks with this logistics company. But we can look at unproductive. Well, it was less than a minute. Let's look at neutral. Stickies. Well, that might need to be reviewed, and maybe that is part of her. What I was looking for is when these employees go to Facebook, or, which is okay, everybody's human. I do it. I get a message, I have to check something. Maybe it's an Amazon delivery or something, but you're not billed for that. Whenever the time they spend on those, you are not billed for that. So, and then of course, finally, screencasts. Let's take a second. And these are recorded in 3-minute intervals, and they are kept in the library. They're stored in the cloud for as long as that employee works for you. So you can go back at any time and play these 3-minute, you can see for any of your employees, these 3-minute screen recordings. You could do that by any date range. So if you've got a question about an interaction with a client or internally, you can look at these screenshots. So that's basically our productivity. This software is monitored 24/7 by our designated real-time analysts, their supervisors. And they can be monitored by you or your supervisors as well. It's just a great tool for transparency. So with that, I would, and probably the most important part in my opinion, of this webinar, Dan Kervikis was gracious enough to give us his time. Dan is one of our longest standing clients. So I'll let Dan tell you a little bit about his experience with remote insourcing. Thanks, Dan.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for the opportunity to join you. And I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't really believe in what iBoss has meant to us and what it could potentially mean for others. I just think it's solving so many problems out there that we all face. Little background on me and my company. So my company is a logistics company. We're based in Arizona. We had a heck of a time sourcing local, good, loyal, talent, hardworking folks that just wanted to come to work, learn a new skill, and just plug into our team. It really surfaced right around COVID time. And when we came back out of COVID, we had a company initiative going on where we were trying to, add bandwidth to a new division that we had been planning for quite a while. And I couldn't find people in the Phoenix market to staff it. And even when we did start to, get some folks to show up for interviews and that, because I'm sure y'all have had that happen where, you run your ads or you do your sourcing and folks don't show up, or if they do, you learn real quick in the first couple of minutes this person's not going to be a good culture fit, or they just don't get it. They don't want to work. They're available for a reason. It seemed like everybody that we were able to find locally, we were either overpaying for, or they were available to the industry for a reason. They maybe showed up for work the first couple days, and then called off the next day, and then the next day, and then all of a sudden you can't reach them, and they're in the wind. So it just super frustrating. It was really stymieing our efforts. So we turned to nearshoring, and we tried a couple of other companies initially. And the experiences was mixed. We had instances where, after someone had been with us for a while and trained and we thought everything was going great, then they would leave that company and go to another company or do something else. And we just had too much turnover with some of the other nearshoring companies we tried. Then we found iBoss. And it's been a complete game changer for us. Everything that Joe shared on the beginning slides and in his opening discussion is spot on. And that's been our experience. We dipped our toe in the water tentatively at first. I think we added one person to start, but we were pleasantly surprised with the process. We were getting college educated, bilingual folks that were super hardworking, super dedicated, super loyal, and just wanted to be a part of something. And the amazing thing about it, what we realized with COVID and everything, a lot of what we do can be done remotely. So having the folk, whether the folks are in Arizona or in Wisconsin or Washington State or wherever they might be with our company, having them in the Dominican was no big deal because for a lot of what those folks were doing for us, you could literally do it from anywhere as long as you had access to a computer and a phone. So we dipped our toe in the water slowly at first, but we quickly saw the value in it, and it was just a complete game changer for us. So we started out with simple customer service positions that we had been trying to fill for a while, that technology couldn't supplant. Got that going, and then we went ahead and took a chance and said, all right, you guys have proved concept with us, and now we want to staff this new division that we've been talking about, and it's not necessarily so complicated, but it's a support structure, and there's a lot of cross training, and you got to bring your brain with you when you report for duty. Um, iBoss team went to work. I told them exactly what we needed, what the qualifications would be, what an ideal candidate would look like, and man, they brought the candidates, and it took a while. We did a lot of interviewing, um, talked to a lot of folks, and then ultimately we ended up picking. I believe we selected 8 out of that process during that time period when we were trying to ramp up and staff that division, and it was a complete game changer for us. For us, it allowed us to expand and broaden our service offerings and really compete with some of our larger competitors who had deeper pockets. And for our clients, it meant all the difference in the world. They weren't waiting on quote requests to be turned around to them. They were getting consistent and multiple tracking updates throughout the day, which really kept them happy. They were notified when shipments were delivered, any delays in transit, all those types of things that when it falls on one or two people within your organization in a company like mine, if you're not able to stay on top of the information and the opportunities, you're going to fall behind and eventually get left behind. So in our case, it was just a godsend to find the iBoss folks, and they've been phenomenal. And the cool thing about how they've integrated in with us, I believe we're going on almost 3 years with them now, and I think we're up to 16 or 17 iBoss teammates down in the Dominican that are working with us. The beautiful thing about it is they're just part of our team. I mean, every department within my organization has a weekly meeting. These iBoss folks just plug right into the meetings. They're active, they participate, they share insights, they talk about their week, whenever they're questioned, and they're just on it. They're on top of it. We have an annual Christmas party every year at the end of the year to celebrate the year and just be thankful for each other. And we've even actually had an iBoss teammate or two come out and join us for the Christmas party, which has been fantastic because it's one thing to interface with folks, on email and phone and all that, but it's another thing when you're actually able to meet them in person and they're just part of the team. It's just amazing. So we have been exceptionally pleased with our iBoss experience. I'm telling you, I've tried other companies. There is no other company like iBoss out there. And I really think you guys owe it to yourselves. And I don't know anything about your companies or what y'all do. I'm just telling you, if you're having any trouble at all hiring local talent or you're frustrated with turnover or you think you're paying too much for local talent or whatever it might be and you're getting sub quality folks, I'm telling you, you ought to give iBoss a try. Dip your toe in the water with them, take them for a test run, and let them show to you everything that they're saying to you. And I guarantee you, from if my experience is typical, which I tend to think it is, because I know we've talked to other folks in the industry at conferences and things like that. And when they've asked us how we've been successful and how we're doing it, and we mention iBoss to them, it's funny because I'll all of a sudden see them, referenced on, as iBoss clients or something down the road because they see the value in it as well. So, and I don't think that would happen unless iBoss truly delivered on what they say they're going to do. So, with that, if anybody has any questions for me, I'll be available for a few more minutes. Other than that, that's our story, and I'm sticking to it. So, thanks, Joe.
That's that's awesome. I didn't open it up for chat or
Oh, okay,
so,
gotcha.
but thank you so much, Dan. I appreciate your time. Thanks for taking the time out of your day.
Okay, am
Really
I
appreciate you.
good to go?
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
All
Have a
right,
great
thanks, guys.
day.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay. Um, yeah, so and that is the most important thing. I don't want to waste any time. I want to move right into giving you the opportunity to hear from some actual iBoss remote insourced employees that are working with some of our other logistics clients. So I'm going to bring on Veronica first, and she'll share who she works for and how long she's been there and her typical day, and you can hear from her. So Veronica, take it away.
Thank you so much, Joe. Well, I've been part of R&R Express for 2 years and a half already. I started working for accounts payable, and now I'm actually part of the collections team. We collect money for R&R Express. We ask for payment status via phone and via email. We also make sure that the customer has everything they need to make the payment. If something is missing, we get the paperwork or we fix the rate, anything that is needed for them to process, then we just go ahead and do it. We also work with different web portals, between 10 or 15 of them, uploading documents such as BOL or invoices. And we also detect any type of issues with the payments, and we make sure everything is on point so the bills can get paid on time. So that's what we do.
And you are Veronica, yeah, as you said, you've been there for 3 years, and I know this collections team that we're now supplying for R&R. You're heading that team up. You're directly supervising, training, and overseeing that collections team. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. I started working with AP, then I was moved to as a trainer. I was promoted, and now I'm actually the team lead for the new collections team, which is actually amazing. So yes,
Yeah, yeah, and it's growing. It's doing very well with R&R.
yes,
Yeah, Veronica, thank you so much. I know you got to get back to work. Thanks for giving us your time today.
you're welcome. Have a good day.
You too. And let's bring in MJ. MJ, tell us a little bit.
Thank you, Joseph. Hi, good morning, guys. My name is MJ, or my journey Peraltable. Feel free to call me MJ. I have been with R&R for almost a year. I originally started as an AP representative, same as Veronica. Then I was later promoted to the settlements department, where I actually handle a list of loads that is provided by our client, verify that all the required paperwork is complete, and request any missing documents. I also followed a specific templates based on each billing code that is within the system, communicate with carriers or factoring companies as needed. And once everything checks out, I set the load up for processing and payment. I also escalated to accounting if it's necessary. I also review weekly agent reports. I provide updates on requested loads and also escalate them to accounting as well, or to the billers if it's necessary. So we are basically in constant communication with the clients, the billers, the carriers, and the factoring companies. And currently, I'm also assisting the rest of the teams whenever they have questions or they need help with specific matters. So I'm truly glad to be part of this amazing company and to work alongside such an excellent team that's always like striving for greatness. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you, MJ. Again, I appreciate your time. I know you're probably on the clock. So thank you so much. Have an awesome day.
You too as well. Thank you.
Okay. And last but certainly not least, we're going to hear from Christopher. Christopher, go right ahead.
Mornings. Hi. Thank you so much for the opportunity of being here. Well, for me, I have spent like 4 or 3.5 years, almost four, with American Group, and more specifically, I'm working on the rates department, and also there's some invoicing involved, and basically invoicing in a nutshell. We just get the bills from the carriers for whatever move we're assigned to, and we go through the bills and we make sure that we're being charged what we were quoted at the beginning. If something that doesn't match, we dispute it. If something matches, then we invoice it. I also am involved with the logistics part of things, in the sense that every morning I have to assign the job or the workload for the rest of the invoicing team, and I also have to stay on top of performance from the team. And yeah, there's also a few reports here and there, like the missed pickup report. Anything that was not picked up yesterday, we have to let our customer know what happened, and if it's going to be picked up today and all that good stuff. But yeah, that's basically what we do what we do for American Group. That's
Okay.
what we bring to the table. Yeah.
Fantastic. Hey, thank you so much, Christopher. I appreciate your time today out of your work day, and I hope you have an awesome day as well.
My pleasure. Anything you need, just let me know.
Okay, take care.
So do you. Bye-bye.
All right. And finally, I want to share with you, let's talk about, I talked about, recruiting costs, retention, but let's talk about payroll costs. So in the US, the average, depending on where you are, but the average minimum hourly rate is $18.98. Now you add in Social Security, medical insurance, PTO, vacation, unemployment tax, all those things. It gets up close to $25 an hour. I'm sure you all know that. I know it firsthand. With iBoss USA, remote insourcing, our average cost for a remote insourced employee is $12.75 an hour. And as I mentioned earlier, that is your flat rate. And that on our end, that includes everything. We take care of all their taxes, all the things in the Dominican Republic, PTO, vacation, uh, annual bonus, incentives, all those things come out of our end. So you're paying that flat rate when they're logged in and when they are productive. So last but not least is our pricing plan. We do have two tiers of employees. Gold, as you can see, at $11.95 an hour, and platinum at $13.50 an hour. The only difference between the two is that gold has a slight to medium accent. You heard that with Christopher, the last employee that shared. And then platinum, they sound fully American. They could be in the Southwest. Maybe they have a slight accent, but they sound fully American. And you heard that with MJ and Veronica. Both are excellent. We have a lot of college educated people, and they're all good. Some of the roles that are gold and platinum are filling, accounts payable, you heard a lot of it, accounts receivable, track and trace, billing, collections, sales support, customer support, and even, some admin roles, some admin support roles. So that is about it. And I think we're right up to the time. So I don't want to waste any of yours. I'm going to send you I will send you a copy of this webinar. If you want to share it with other decision makers within your company. You can also schedule a private consultation. If you want to have some other decision makers go through, a Q&A with us, with me, we can do that. Want to hear from some employees and whatnot. If you want to move forward and submit a role, you can do that. But most of all, reach out to me anytime. The follow-up email will have all of our information in it. And thank you again for your time. I hope you have a wonderful day.